Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Eric, and welcome back to a brand new Bioshock video. The last time I made a cut content video, you guys were absolutely incredible with the amount of support on that video, and I am very, very grateful for that. Thank you so much. If we can get this video to surpass that video, to me, that would be absolutely insane, but if not, it's completely okay. I hope you enjoy it regardless. Now, in that video, I promised you guys a special episode. So in today's video, we have 15 characters that were cut or removed from the Bioshock franchise. And this is going to be in order, going from Bioshock Infinite to Bioshock 2, then down to Bioshock 1. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And at the number 15 slot, we have the Automatic Gentleman. Not intended as an enemy, Automatic Gentlemen were envisioned as automations or automatrons that acted as servants to the rich of Columbia, and would likely have been seen numerous times over the course of Bioshock Infinite. While Automatic Gentlemen were cut from the game fairly early in development, the various vending machines encountered in Columbia feature animatronic figures that resemble them. The Automatic Gentleman also served as inspiration for the motorized Patriot. And at the number 14 slot, I decided to combine two together. First, it's going to be Fink Security, and then secondly, it's going to be the Fink Factory Workers. So Fink Security was a unique enemy originally stated to appear, but it was cut for unknown reasons. Images only appear in the concept art of the game. They were originally security guards for Fink Industries, dressed in green attire and carrying triple R's. In the final game, Jeremiah Fink offers Booker the position of head of security to replace Schofield Sandsmark. There's nothing distinctly different between the security agents and other soldiers. And then finally for the workers. Early concept art shows that some of the workers in Fink's factories would actually be a part of the machines that they would supposedly operate with or on. These emaciate workers were locked into machines by a harness and at the stumps of their feet and arms and placed at the machine to control them. While not appearing in the final game, the concept of Fink turning people into machines was retained as Fink's workers performed their duties in a very regimented and robotic fashion. Coming in at the lucky number 13 slot are the Mad Toy Maker's toys. Before the game's core concepts were finalized, there was an early draft for toy-like automations or automatrons created by a quote-unquote mad toy maker, resembling animals in festive outfits. There were 4 designed variants of these toys: a rabbit wearing a top hat and tuxedo, an owl in a night-themed suit with retractable blades attached to its arms, an elephant with a slow pro-like back-mounted cannon that would fire cannonballs when pulled with a rope, and a moth with painted wings like stained glass. The latter concept would evolve into Songbird. The final 2 for Bioshock Infinite are going to be coming from its DLC, Burial at Sea. So in at the number 12 slot, we have the Jockey Splicer. The Jockey Splicer was an enemy who had consumed too much of the drinkable plasmid Shock Jockey. The character was alluded to by Booker in Burial at Sea Episode 1 and was supposed to be featured in Burial at Sea Episode 2, but ultimately was cut far along in the process for unknown reasons. It even had its own character model, which could be found in the game files, and a cartoon caricature, which could be seen in the Need to Know Theater film Message Received, Ryan. Unused sound files for Elizabeth has her referred to this splicer as a jockey, shock jockey, shocker, and a volter. Rounding out the lineup of Bioshock Infinite's cut content is the grenade launcher and RPG splicer at the number 11 spot. Concept art exists for a splicer enemy that would have carried a grenade launcher or RPG with them. Like other splicers, this enemy would have worn impromptu protective covering, in his case, armor fastened to him from sheet metal. This unique enemy type did not appear anywhere in the game, but the model's design is slightly similar in appearance to some of the male splicers encountered in the store, albeit more buff. In terms of their weapon choice, bulky physique, and use of armor, this proposed splicer is similar to the beast heavy hitter enemy from Bioshock Infinite. Now we make our way to Bioshock 2 with the number 10 slot being waiters. The game's data includes a texture file for waiters, suggesting that he was intended to reappear in Bioshock 2. Although this texture uses the same appearance and design he had in the original Bioshock, it is a newly created file for Bioshock 2 and not a mere reused asset. The art style of this texture is less detailed and realistic than the style used for the other splicers in Bioshock 2, so it is likely that the texture remains from a relatively early point in production. And at the number 9 spot is something that, quite frankly, I didn't know anything about, and it's quite fascinating, and that are Rapture survivors. With the exception of some of the NPCs, the concept of non-spliced people still living in Rapture whom the player may have had contact with was cut from the final game. These remaining sane citizens would have special breathing apparatuses and wrap their clothes in duct tape to keep them more watertight so as to better navigate the deteriorating city. At their quote-unquote safe house, they would have dressed more normally. When the idea was scrapped, the model was repurposed as a mutated splicer that only appears in the demo and the opening cinematic. So for me, that would have been unique, to be able to walk around not only seeing spliced up people, big daddies, big sisters, etc. You get to see regular, normal functioning people. In my opinion, that would have been a very cool addition to Bioshock 2. Coming in at the number 8 slot is one thick, and I mean thick with 3 C's, Big Daddy, and he was named the Demo Daddy. The Demo Daddy, also known as Egg Daddy, is an unused Big Daddy model. He was inspired by World War II bombers and is so a military defense Big Daddy, wearing heavy armor and some shields. The idea was that he would serve as a protector of Rapture, taking care of any submarines nearing the city. Another idea for them to be a more rusted and covered in ocean plants, representing them being left out in the sea, as Rapture went into chaos during the Civil War. Again, that would have been a very cool addition to Bioshock 2. I'm not sure how they would have been able to incorporate it, but I think it would have been a cool addition nonetheless. In today's 7th slot of the video are the ghosts, or visions, whichever you guys prefer. Although Bioshock 2 does not feature ghosts as portrayed in Bioshock 1, the launch trailer for Bioshock 2 does contain a scene featuring a large assortment of ghosts dancing. As revealed by Bioshock 2 creative director Jordan Thomas in an interview with Games Radar, the idea of ghosts and genetic memories would have originally played a larger role in Bioshock 2, as more than just cutscenes. There were more of a number of playable flashbacks, which had a prequel-like flavor, but were more subjective, like memories that you were uncovering, but they were terrible. What Rapture was like in its heyday appeals on paper, but it meant you really couldn't play the game. Players sleepwalked through each scene, which was pretty, but not particularly convincing. So essentially, it was cut because they were boring, just simply put. So that is coming from Jordan Thomas himself. And finally, at the number 6 slot and rounding out the lineup of Bioshock 2's entries on this list is the Deep Sea Explorer. And this one is quite interesting, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. I know I did. Another cut idea was for a deep sea diver to be sunk down in a bathysphere connected to a boat, more specifically the USS Janney, in 1957. While being sunk to the bottom, the sphere suffers some technical issues thanks to the pressure of the water around it. While at the bottom, the diver exits the sphere and starts to walk on the seabed, connected with an air tube to the sphere. When walking, he witnesses a light and is shocked to see the underwater city of Rapture. While watching the city, several torpedoes are launched at the USS Janney. The diver is dragged towards the sphere when the captain of the boat starts to reel it back up. The diver loses control of himself and ends up pulling off the tube and sinking down, with the bathysphere falling after him. The scene ends with a reflection of the diver's eye being seen on a broken piece of glass. This idea might have been how the man who became Subject Delta found Rapture. So to me, that is a very interesting and a very awesome take on Subject Delta as a character. So unfortunately it was cut, but I think they did a pretty good job with Bioshock 2 nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And now we go to the last remaining 5 on this list, going back to the original Bioshock. So in at the number 5 spot we have Aggressors. During the early stages of Bioshock's development, the game's main enemies, who at this point were called Aggressors, had purposefully mutated themselves in order to be able to utilize better weapons and become stronger foes. As their concepts developed, the team decided that the enemies became creepier as they became more human. Eventually, this realization, along with the change in Rapture's design and purpose, led to the splicers we see in the final game. Though removed from the final game, many Aggressor models appear as statues in Bioshock Ultimate Rapture Edition in the Museum of Orphan Concepts. And I do have a video on the Museum of Cut Content if you guys want to check it out. It'll be at the end of the video. All you will have to do is click on it. So, highly recommend checking it out for you guys. In at the number 4 slot, we have the Yam Hand, and what a name for that enemy that it is. The Yam Hand was an early concept for a splicer from a time period where disproportional limbs were being considered. Of a special note is the Mishappen Head, which its creator, Rob Waters, liked since, quote, it kind of made you wonder what the heck was going on under the dingy burlap sack, end quote. Given the lack of weapon, this splicer may have resorted to melee attacks, so I think that would have been pretty cool. However, I think it's kind of a silly name for a supposed badass enemy. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now we're into the top 3 of this list. So in at the number 3 and receiving the bronze medal is the Missing Link. The Missing Link splicer is the last of the more monstrous splicers and points towards the development of the more human splicers seen in the game. The official name seems to be Rifleman. As with some other designs of this time, this splicer has a device on its back that is pumping fluid into him. Unlike most other splicers in development at the time, his clothes are mostly intact and he does not have disproportionate limbs. So I think this one in the grand scheme of Bioshock could have worked. However, they decided to cut it from the game. I would have loved to see this character in action. So that's just my personal opinion. In at everybody's favorite, number 2, and getting the silver medal for today's video is the Slow Pro Big Daddy. Again, I made a video on the Museum of Cut Content in which this is actually featured. It'll be at the end of the video. Just click on it. I highly recommend it. Anyways, the Slow Pro, dubbed Slow Pro Thumb or Slow Pro Thumb in all capitals by the development team, was a model of Big Daddy cut from Bioshock. Standing for slow-moving, projectile-shooting, fucked-up melee, this Big Daddy was intended as a slow-ranged type that would center itself and kneel to fire a heavy projectile at enemies via a large arm-mounted cannon. However, he was cut out late in development due to limitations in file space and storage. It was also planned to get research points from Slowpro, like other enemies, at some point in development. His research icon can be seen in Bioshock Breaking the Mold. This Big Daddy was modified and featured in Bioshock 2 as the Rumbler, where the player can now get research points from him. So, this is probably my second favorite Big Daddy model. Let me know what your guys' favorite is down in the comments, along with if you're enjoying the list so far. And finally, taking the gold medal of the top 15 of today's list, and at the number 1 spot we have the Grenadier Splicer. The Grenadier is ultimately the Nitro Splicer. This large gray model spliced to carry giant grenades to throw at the player. He has a backpack and a messenger bag for the grenades and additional smaller bags attached to his pants. He has a strange black tool sticking out from his chest and bandages covering the majority of his arms and his face. Thankfully, they actually ended up using this concept, turning it into the Nitro Splicer, because this enemy is just way too cool to leave out of a game. So again, it's my opinion, you guys can disagree, but I do enjoy the Nitro Splicers a lot from Bioshock, so it's fitting that they came from a original concept called the Grenadier Splicer. Well, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching, I do hope you guys enjoyed this top 15 list. Again, the last video that I made on cut content did absolutely incredible, so thank you guys for that support. However, if you want to see another video like this, let's try to get more support than that. I think you guys can do it. If not, it's completely okay. I will probably end up making the video anyway because these are just too much fun to make. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. With that being said, if you're new here and want to join the Rapture family or see the Rapture family grow, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, share the video with some family and some friends, and be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you get notified when I upload or when I go live with a live stream, since YouTube likes to mess up sometimes. If you want to follow me outside of YouTube, Twitter, my Instagram, and my Discord server are the 3 best ways to do so. All the links will be down in the description below. Again, thank you guys for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this top 15, and this is a little bit of a special episode, so I do hope you guys enjoyed it through and through. Anyways, with that being said, again, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Take care, and I love you all. Thank you so much.